Last week, I had to get into a meeting where I thought I was having a wheezing attack. The thing was, I was working on a project and it's transformation from one mode of project management to another. I've been working on that for the past 8 to 9 months. And yesterday, or rather, last week was its culmination when the project ended and we were all giving our lessons learned. I was not expected to talk in the meeting. And all of a sudden, my boss said, uh, Rashmi will probably wrap up how the transformation happened. And I seriously thought I was having a panic attack. I wanted my inhaler at that moment. And I don't know how I got out of that state. Fellow Toastmasters, my dear guests, our special guest for the day, DTM Safir Aziz, welcome to our education session on how to improve your impromptu speaking skills. The problem with most of us is that we all have a fear of public speaking. Of course, it's the number one ranked fear in the whole wide world. It ranks greater than death. I think I've made this statement multiple times. Whenever I'm the TMOD, I make this statement. We go into a speech, even if we are prepared, we have sweaty palms, we panic, our face, displays all signs of nervousness. People assume that we're having a cardiac arrest. Why does this happen? Why are we so ill prepared to speak in public? Why do we panic? I needed my inhaler, by the way, last week. After the session, I had to go and take a whiff because I was totally unprepared for it. Yes, if there's a written speech, I can handle that really well, like how I'm doing it today. I have something written down and I'm partially looking at it. I have my crutch. That's that. But without that, how do you talk? Now, we have with us today Mr. Safir Aziz, who is a mechanical engineer by education. He's an aviation enthusiast by profession. He's got more than 20 years. He's a Toastmaster veteran. He's been with Toastmasters for more than 20 years. He's held leadership roles from club to district levels. He's also achieved, or rather, the coveted title DTM. He's got that twice. So if any of you have any questions, you should probably make use of that now. For all the students who are here, I think this is one session that you should probably capitalize on because now is the time when you should build up on your speaking skills because the moment you move into IT, what I mentioned earlier will happen quite often. You will be called upon to speak every now and then without you having any indication of that. DTM Safir Aziz is currently VP Operations at Forloop, a Melbourne, Australia-based IT organization. So I heartily welcome DTM Safir Aziz as our special educational session taker for today. Thank you so much, sir, for agreeing to be here. Over to you.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. Our president, J. Kishore, convinced me to come. Okay, first of all, I was happy coming to a Toastmaster meeting, and then he threw in a carrot. There are going to be some students as well, and I always love talking to students. That's why I'm here. Question: how many of you are comfortable speaking to public? I know it's a cliched question, but I'll start with that anyways. Rashmi has answered it herself early on, but I want to get the opinion from the audience as well. How many of you are comfortable speaking in front of public? Show of hands, please. Nobody? Zero? Okay, so it's more like it because last week I was listening to a presentation by a professor in speech communication. His name is Matt Abrahams. He's a professor in Stanford and a few top universities like that. He has even written an article. I was searching for information on impromptu speaking, and his name came up because he wrote an article in a magazine that Toastmasters publishes every month called the Toastmaster magazine, in which he had written about impromptu speaking. I think it was in October 2016. So if you want to search for it, you may do that. The information is available online. So he said that 85% of people say they are nervous when speaking in public. 85%. And then he said, and the remaining 15% are lying. Okay, so that is normal speaking, prepared speaking in front of public. But if you ask about impromptu speaking, 110% or 200% of the people will be scared to do that. And that's why probably Mark Twain made a famous quote. He said, it usually takes me more than 3 weeks to prepare a good impromptu speech. And that's what we are trying to do today during this session, to cover what are the aspects that can help us prepare for a session, for an impromptu speech, whenever the opportunity arrives. Okay, so question. Rashmi mentioned about a situation that happened last week when a manager all of a sudden passed on the buck to her and said that, okay, go ahead and speak. What other opportunities we get like this, where we are asked to speak impromptu? You can turn on your audio and speak out, not an issue, because it's going to be an interaction. People who are on camera, who are not on camera, anybody can speak out. Okay, office is one example that Rashmi mentioned, when she was cold called, as the term is, to speak without any preparation. Where else do we get called like that? All these college going students, do your parents ask you when you are coming late? Where were you? What happened? Give me an explanation at this point in time. Yeah. There are interviews, which is kind of impromptu. Yes, you can do a lot of preparation, but the questions that come to you are impromptu. You get into stages where you introduce yourselves to others, and other people introduce themselves, so you go on a interaction with them. There are some cases where we are interrogated. I remember recently we had a session with the CA students. They had a conference, and three of us, myself, Beena, and Shaji, were asked to do a stress test for some 3 or 4 contestants. And we enjoyed that, asking so many questions to them to give them initiate stress in them. Audience also enjoyed, but the 3 or 4 people did not enjoy that. But interrogations happen. Now, what can we do to prepare ourselves for an occasion or a scenario where we are called upon to speak in an impromptu manner? Obviously, if you start preparation when the question is asked, that is not good enough. So how can we start early on? One of the most important aspects is to have a positive mindset. That's where I will start. See, it is normal to feel anxiety when you are asked to speak, even if it is a prepared speech. I have done this presentation, not in this format and this content, multiple times before, but I'm still anxious. I'm feeling tense in front of an audience. You're all PMI experts, you're college students, Toastmasters, deadly combination as I call it. So I am anxious, and it is normal. So the first thing that we have to do is to tell our mind that I understand I am anxious. I know it is normal and natural. So recognize that, so that the anxiety doesn't spill over. And we can have our own routines to de-stress. I normally like walking around before yesterday I was in an office doing a presentation on behalf of my company. So before the main head of IT was coming in, I was standing, and the person who invited me was saying, Safir, please sit. I said, no, this is my way of getting away the anxiety. I want to walk around. I want to feel relaxed, and I walk around. I heard that there are people who take push-ups before it, backstage before coming onto the stage to speak. There are people who do breathing exercises. You can find your own way to de-stress before a speaking opportunity. The second thing that play on in your mind, or they should play on in your mind, is to consider such opportunities as an opportunity and not a challenge. It's an opportunity to prove yourself. It's an opportunity to communicate what is in your mind. So what is wrong? If I fail, so what? It's an opportunity. If you consider that as an opportunity, then it makes it all the more easy for you to go ahead and perform better. And the third is to get yourself in the present. Normally what happens is, whenever we get a speaking opportunity, we think about the future. What will people do after listening to me? Will they say yes or no? Will they give me a pass mark? Will they fail me? All of these thoughts come into our mind. Forget all those things. Put yourself in the present. Do what you can do. Control what you can. You cannot control the future. Control what you can. That is yourself at this point in time. So be in the present. So these three aspects, we can prepare our mind accordingly. One is greet anxiety. Second is create an opportunity mindset. And third is to be in the present. These three aspects. Okay. What else can you do in preparation? I was looking at information on this and I saw a beautiful phrase. It said, sweat in peace so that you can bleed less in war. Sweat in peace so that you can bleed less in war. What I understood from it is prepare yourself, be the expert, have all the information that you need so that when the opportunity comes, you can speak properly. In Toastmasters, for example, we have table topics every meeting. So read voraciously so that you have information about the history, you have the information on current events so that you can bring it all together. We'll talk about the structure later on, but you can bring it all together in a structured speech. I have this habit of collecting speech topics, stories, quotes. So every time I come across a quote, I send it I have a WhatsApp option where I can message myself. So I put it down there. I see a good story, I put it in there. And then I have a Word document. Later on, I'll transfer all these things into the Word document. At least it is there at the back of your mind. And if you are doing a prepared speech, you can go back to this file, pick up information, stories, quotes, anecdotes, and then bring it up into your speech. Take pictures as much as you can because every picture has a story to tell. And then in preparation, always practice every time you get an opportunity to do so. We'll come to that later on what are the opportunities to practice. They say that the will to win is nothing unless you have the will to prepare. For prepared speeches as well as for impromptu speeches, that holds true. You will not win or you cannot win unless you prepare. Okay, so what is the process that we go through with respect to presenting your impromptu speeches? In Toastmasters, we have the 2-minute approach, as we call it. We have table topics for 2 minutes. Minimum is 1 minute, maximum is 2.5 minutes. Recently, I was speaking to some HR people, and they told me that even in interviews, they like to see people who can present their responses in a crisp manner, if it is possible within 2 to 3 minute windows. So it's a good practice that if you can have to give any response within a 2-minute window. Don't beat around the bush. Go ahead, give your answers in a 2-minute window. And that takes a lot of practice. And the second aspect, in terms of preparation, is to get yourself out of the way. We have this analysis paralysis kind of a situation that we want to do everything perfectly, and we don't do anything at all. We are not willing to tackle table topics in a Toastmaster meeting because we fear failure. One of my uncles, my mother's elder brother, he was in the Middle East for a long time. And once somebody invited him to a Toastmaster meeting and he went there as a guest. And he knew that I was a Toastmaster and he came back and told me, Safir, I enjoyed the meeting. So I asked him, did you join? He said, no, I will not join. I said, what happened? I liked everything, prepared speeches, evaluations, general evaluation, timer, grammarian, everything I liked. But the impromptu speech session, I didn't like. I said, why? I asked him why. He said, for me, I am okay to speak on any topic, but I need time to prepare. So when you ask me a question, probably I can come back the next day and present a speech on that, but not immediately as soon as you ask. So he never joined. So one thing that we need to understand is that there is no perfect speech, and you don't need to be right. If you want to remember this. There is no right way to deliver an impromptu speech. There can be a better way or there can be a worse way, but there is no right way. It's all in your mind. What you decide the right way is the right way. Okay? And it's okay to fail, especially when you are practicing in Toastmasters or in any other during any other opportunity. It is okay to fail, and you can dare yourself to be dull also. You don't need to be the exciting speakers. You don't need to be Barack Obama every time you are asked to speak, especially if you are asked to speak impromptu. Now, when you are given an opportunity, when you get close to the opportunity, one of the important skills that you need to learn is the skill to listen, to slow down your mind and listen to what is being asked of you. It can be in an interview, it can be in an interrogation, it can be in your boss's office when he is asking you a question, it can be in Toastmasters when you are asked a table topics question. Slow down and listen. They say silence is golden. At that time, even try to keep your mind silent, because the mind might be racing forward with a lot of thoughts. What will he ask? What will I respond? You have not even heard the question, but your mind is racing to find answers to that. So slow down your mind, slow down your body, and listen. There's an important thing that listen and silent has the same alphabets. What it means is, if you want to listen, you have to be silent. Give it your full attention as if your life depends on that particular question that person is asking. And it is not possible in Toastmasters when table topics questions are asked, but if you are in a situation where you are in front of a boss, in front of an interview panel, if you are not clear with what has been asked, clarify. Paraphrase it. This is what I heard. Is it correct? Shall I go ahead and answer? So always ask and clarify. Another lesson to learn and prepare is to pick up your first instincts when you are asked a question. So there is something that comes to you the first thing when you hear a question, and most of the time that first instinct will be right. But then we waver off. You think, oh, is that right? What happens if I tell that? All these negative connotations come into our mind, and then we go for something else. But if you can stick to that first instinct, it will be great. For that, pick keywords out of the question that is being asked. You may not remember the entire phrase, but pick up keywords. And if it is in an interview, we can pick up keywords that are more relevant to you or you are happy with, and turn the conversation on its side, talking about whatever you want from those keywords. Get to a decision as much as possible. When you're asked a question, either agree or disagree. Don't stand in between. And when you're standing in front of an audience, after the question is asked, pause, smile, and pan the audience. It will give you a little bit of a breather time so that you can collect your thoughts. And if you can tell a story, nothing like it. And if the story has a little bit of humor in it, that's also great. Okay, so now what are the structures that we can use when a question is asked of you? Any ideas that you have in terms of the structures that we can use? Or why is structure important? Anybody wants to unmute and talk? No? They say that structure sets you free. Recently, we were attending a presentation or a discussion on evaluations in Toastmasters. So one of the suggestions that came through was to have a structure even for evaluations, so that whatever information comes your way can be put into the different blocks that you have, and it makes it easy for you to remember. So if you have a standard structure for evaluations, that helps. And similarly for impromptu speeches, if you can have a standard structure that you use most of the time, 100% of the time it may not be practical, but we'll go through some examples of structures that we can use. But have a generic structure that you have in your mind, which you are more comfortable with. So when you are asked this question, when these keywords come to you, when these thoughts come to you, you can place them in different portions and then go ahead with a structured speech. They say that a structure helps you or increases more than 40% in processing fluency, both for you as well as for the audience. And that helps you to keep the audience on track. Okay. So what are the structures that we can use? One of the most common things that we use in Toastmasters, we call it the prep structure. So when a question is asked, take a position, give a reason, uh, give an experience or an explanation, and then conclude with a position. So what do you think of the educational system in India right now? So take a position. It is good, bad, or ugly, whichever. So it is good. What is the reason for that? Because a lot of theory is taught, for example. Give an experience. Tell your experience when you were in college. What happened? What did you study? How did it help you in your career? Or how did it not help you in your career? Put all these things and then restate your position to say that, okay, because of these reasons, I believe that the educational system in India is good, bad, or ugly, whatever your stand was. So position, reason, explanation or experience, and then restating the position. Another structure that you can use is past, present, and future. So if you are asked a question which has a bit of a chronology in it, like for example, did you see, what do you think about the World Cup that happened in Qatar? So you can talk about the past. I have seen World Cups in the past where it was spread across multiple countries sometimes, but in Qatar, what we saw was a concise World Cup where the 8 stadiums were within 1 hour distance from each other, because of which we could attend multiple matches and it was enjoyable. And then future, we feel that, okay, we need to have a mix and match of both these situations. So past, present, and future. You can also use problem, solution, benefit approach. So you ask the question, you have a problem, so define the problem. What is the solution to that? And if you implement that solution, what are the benefits that you get? That can be applied for opportunities. So there is an opportunity. What is a solution, or what is it that will help that particular opportunity, and how will it benefit? You can tell a story. You have 2 minutes, for example, you can tell a story. Uh, what is the most difficult challenge that you have come across in your career? Take an example from your career. I had a situation where one of my subordinates was not meeting his objectives, and he was not willing to change. I tried my best to bring him on board, try to give him a guidance, mentoring, extra training, but still he was not coming to task. And then I had to let him go. And from this, I learned such and such a thing. So tell a story, tell an experience. If nothing works, just think 3 points about that particular question. The first 3 points that come to your mind. I have 3 thoughts that come to my mind. One is this, second is this, third is this, and conclude. And again, if nothing else works, I am sure that all of us have heard this, that if you're asked about the cow, you don't know anything about the cow, go tie it to a coconut tree and talk about the coconut tree. In fact, there is a quote from uh, a lady, Martha Stewart. She said, so the pie isn't perfect, cut it into wedges. So, so do something with the topic and talk whatever comes to your mind. Yeah. So that's about the structure. Now, how do you practice all of these aspects? There's a Mexican proverb. Uh, it says that one who is dancing in the village square is not doing it for the first time. So if you want to perform well, you can't do it if you are going to perform it for the first time in front of an audience. You need to try it out. So what are the opportunities that we have? In Toastmasters, again, I'm telling this because every meeting of Toastmasters has a table topic session. And that's a perfect opportunity to practice impromptu speaking. Topics are thrown at you. Even if topics are not given to you, you are sitting in the audience, somebody else is being asked a question. Think about that. What will be your response? And in your mind, give that response. So it helps you to think fast. In colleges, I'm sure that there are speaking clubs or there are jam competition, just a minute competition. These are all opportunities for you to practice. If you don't have both, when you are driving with friends, ask your friends to throw topics at you, or your spouse or children to throw topics at you, and then you respond to that in this 2-minute window using any structure that comes out. You don't have your family or friends with you, you are passing by, you see an advertisement hoarding, you see a quote in that, speak out about that particular topic for 2 minutes. Nobody is listening, nobody is recording, so you don't have an issue. Even if you fail, it's okay. So these are all opportunities for you to practice. And whenever you do that, whenever you get an opportunity, keep it short, keep it simple, keep smiling, keep participating and practicing. There's a famous quote from Andre Agassi. He said, if you don't practice, you don't deserve to win. And the more you practice, the easier it will be. So this is about impromptu speeches. And I want to bring your attention to one aspect of impromptu speeches, which I am fascinated with. I have not had the opportunity to do this so far, but I want to be prepared, and I would like you to be prepared as well. It's called the elevator pitch. Anybody heard about that? Anybody heard about elevator pitch? Okay. So yeah, Akhila, thank you very much. And somebody else also mentioned. So for those of you who are not aware, so it's a situation where you are at the ground floor or of a tall building. You enter into the lift, and your CEO walks into the same lift. And only two of you are there in that lift, and you are going to the 10th floor or the 15th floor of that building. So in that 30 seconds, 60 seconds that it will take for the lift to reach the 10th or the 15th floor, how can you use that opportunity to convince the CEO to make a life-changing decision for you? That's the whole question. Now, if you get into a lift and you see the CEO there, definitely there is no time for you to prepare that elevator pitch. So prepare upfront and be ready. So what are the aspects that, and this preparation will help you in interviews. It will help you in your icebreaker speeches if you are a Toastmaster and you want to give an icebreaker speech. So just listen through this one. So normally when you are introducing yourself and when you see a CEO in a lift or when you see a senior executive, as part of introductions, what are the normal things that we say? We tell our name, we tell our designation, we tell how many years of experience do I have or how many years I've been in this organization. Now think about it. So what? Your name or my name, Safir, would be the most beautiful word in the world for me, not for others. A CEO or a senior executive will be meeting hundreds of people. So why does Safir matter to him? How does me having 15 years of experience or 25 years of experience matter to him? Whether I'm coming from Kerala or Timbuktu, it doesn't matter. Correct? So what is it that we can tell that will create an impact? And I was listening to uh, a speaker, his name is Yavar Beg. He was saying that the biggest mistake, when somebody asks you, what do you do? The biggest mistake that you can do is to answer that question. Because normally what will we do? What do you do? Oh, I am an aviation professional. I have worked in the aviation industry for 25 years. I have made such and such systems. I work for a company called Forloop in Australia now. Again, so what? So when somebody asks you a question, what do you do? What is the question behind that question? If I am asking Rashmi, what do you do? In my mind, I want to know what is in it for me. What Rashmi does, how will I benefit? because everybody in this world is after a benefit. So the challenge is what to say in that 60 seconds or 2 minutes. Let's say we give a buffer, 2 minutes. What can we say that can change our life? And what can we say spontaneously, that's something that which we have prepared and practiced multiple times. So an elevator pitch in essence is a clear, concise, memorable, and enthusiastic response in 60 seconds or 2 minutes that we have prepared and practiced and delivered in a spontaneous manner. So what are the things that we should say? One, if we can have a catchy headline that introduces us briefly, and it will entice somebody to know more about us, that will be great to have a catchphrase. The second is we need to briefly mention our expertise, but then go on to how is it important for the other party? Why is my 25 years of experience good for you? I know that you are going to develop an MRO system or a ERP software. I have developed 3 ERP softwares in my career, so I bring with me that experience, which will be of help to you. And the fourth point is, how do they remember you? Again, the catchphrase could be, or you can give them a takeaway. Okay, can I come back to you? Can I call you, or give them a business card, or whatever is allowing them to remember you as an individual. Always speak from the other perspective of the other person. Give them an indication that you have an overall understanding of the problem, and show them how you can fit in. And if possible, by time, you have only 60 seconds. When can I come over and present to you 15 minutes about what capabilities I have? So all of these things we need to keep in mind. By doing all these, be the one that stands out in a million. And that's what we are trying to do. Okay. And in all these scenarios, to create more impact, think about the audience. Think about what language people like. For example, there are people who like auditory language. There are some people who are visual. There are some people who wants to touch and see. There are executives who always like visionary language. There are managers who like strategic language. There are the team members who always like tactical. For example, I cannot go to a team member of mine and talk about where the company's vision is. So depending on the scenario, you need to change your language, and as much as possible, be conversational in nature. So this is basically the content that I had. So for the next 10 minutes, I'll take you through the presentation. So it is a refresher for all of you. And then we can go to the table topic session or the question and answer session. Where do I showcase? How do I present this? I tried this earlier. Share. Okay. Share content. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Rashmi? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, we can see.
Okay. Okay. So this is a Mark Twain quote that I mentioned. It usually takes me more than 3 weeks to prepare a good impromptu speech. We will go through the preparation phase, the process, the structure, how we can practice, how to prepare for an elevator pitch, and then how we can add impact. This is a quote from Arthur Ashe. One important key to success is self-confidence. And if you want self-confidence, you need to prepare. There are a lot of cold calling opportunities like the one that Rashmi mentioned. We can get such cold calls at home, in the society, or in office or college. It can be for interviews, it can be for introductions or interrogations, as we said. We spoke about how we can greet anxiety, how we tell ourselves that it's okay to be anxious, how we can do exercises, for example, walk around, breathe, whatever makes you feel at ease. And change your mindset from an opportunity to speak in front of people, whether it is prepared or whether it is impromptu, Change the mindset from being a problem to an opportunity, because it is an opportunity to showcase yourself. And train yourself to be in the present, not going ahead into the future. And if you do that, like Reshmi mentioned, she had a panic attack. Definitely, we'll not have panic attacks. We'll get more relaxed. It's all in your mind. It's nothing that somebody else can come and do. It's all in our mind. Sweat in peace, bleed less in war, read voraciously, become an expert, create a stories or an ideas file. Remember, every picture has a story to tell, and practice all the time. Play it in your mind. Even if you cannot speak out, play it in your mind on how you would respond to a question like this. The will to win is nothing unless you have the will to prepare. Okay, the process, we spoke about the 2-minute approach. Remember that there is no perfect speech. You don't need to be right. And as I said, there is no right way to do an impromptu speech. You can have a better way or a worse way, but there is no right way. Whatever you are doing at that particular moment is the right way. And it's okay to fail, especially in a trial environment. And go ahead there and be dull. Doesn't matter. You don't need to be exciting all the time. Prepare ourselves to slow down and listen before we respond. In fact, there's a quote that I remember, that if we listen to respond rather than to reply, half of world's problems will be solved. Normally, what happens is when somebody is speaking to us, we want to reply as soon as possible. No, calm down. Listen to what he has to say. Listen to his perspective and respond, not reply. Silence is golden. And as I said, listen and silent has the same alphabets. Whenever somebody is asking a question, give it your full attention. Don't think about responses. Slow down and prepare yourself to ask or clarify the question. And this is all preparation that we have to do upfront to make ourselves capable of this. When you hear a topic, practice yourself to pick up the keywords, get to a decision as quick as possible. Pause, smile, and pan, and then personalize. And if you can tell a story, that'll be great. Now, if you are in table, unfortunately, this year in District 121, we don't have a table topics contest, but I'll give you a pro tip. If you want to stand out in a competition, especially in a table topics competition, talk against your first instinct, because normally everybody will have the same instinct. And if you be different, then you can score additional marks. But I would, for beginners, I would always go ahead with the first instinct. But if you want to win a competition, then speak against that. Yeah, but that's a pro tip. This is a quote that I mentioned. So if the pie isn't perfect, cut it into wedges, stay in control, never panic. Okay, the structure, we spoke about the structure setting you free. And we spoke about the position, reason, example, or experience and position. We spoke about the past, present, and future. We spoke about the problem, solution, benefit, or it can be pros, cons, and recommendations. It's another variation of the problem, opportunity, or solution, benefit. What is the problem? So what is the impact of that? And now what is it that we can do about it? Tell a story. If it is funny, it's even better. And think 1, 2, 3 when all fails. The trick is to come up with what is the best choice when a question is asked. If we can be an expert in all these and then pick up the best option, but for beginners, I would suggest that we pick up one, for example, the position, reason, experience, and position aspect, because 90% of the questions can be answered with that. So be an expert in that and use it all the time. Or pick up what, so what, no, now what. And practice and become an expert in that. You can use it in most of the cases. How do you practice? We said Toastmasters is a wonderful opportunity. So if you are not part of Toastmasters, by all means join and enjoy the table topic segment in the Toastmasters meeting. If you are in college, you can attend the jam sessions or any opportunity. Present seminars, for example, and ask them to ask questions, ask the audience to ask questions. Ask friends to throw questions at you. And if nothing else works, speak out for any quote that you see anywhere. Okay, keep it short, keep it simple, keep smiling, keep practicing, participating. We spoke about this. Elevator speech, we spoke about all this. I'll quickly go through because we have another 10 minutes to get you some topics. Okay, so when you're ready with the elevator pitch, walk into the elevator and wait for the CEO to come. It may not happen, but please wait until it happens. Remember, the first chance only comes once. So if you are not prepared at that time, you have left the opportunity go away. So be ready for it. Okay, to create more impact, always think about what the audience wants. And even if it is for a prepared speech, think about the audience, not about what you know or what you can convey. It is about what the audience wants. As what I said, like there are different people who favor different types of languages. So if we can cater to that kind of a language, it will be great. And be conversational as much as possible. Okay, question and answers, or I will do one thing. I will stop the presentation now. Rashmi, you have some topics for our audience members so that they
Yes,
can
yes,
practice
I
this?
do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Should I go ahead and pick out somebody and then ask? Do you want me to,
Okay, my preferred option, is to go ahead and ask the question first
okay,
and then call for a volunteer. Now, the advantage is that when you ask the question, everybody will start thinking, and then you can call somebody. Well, the remaining people can continue thinking. So
fine.
go ahead and do that.
All right. First topic is, I will have you guys remember that I'm a foodie, so I'm going to start with that. What is the weirdest food that you've ever eaten? What is the weirdest food that you have ever eaten? Srijesh wants to volunteer. Go ahead, Srijesh.
Yep. So my name is Sri. So the weirdest food, though I did not have it. This is a story which takes me way back to my service engineer days in Hyderabad. So we were going for an installation in a bank, very outskirts of Hyderabad, and I had a colleague. His name was Shakir, and he was a person who never eats probably food that has got a lot of chili in it. He was a sweet person, let me say in the other words. So we went to a hotel, and the hotel guy said the only food available is rice with some dal kind of a stuff. Nothing else was available. It's a very remote area, and we ordered for that. And after eating a small piece of it, I could see his face turning completely into red color. So eyes, nose, everything become something like a real red kind of a stuff. So then I asked him, Shakir, do you want to try something else? Then he saw there was a Coca-Cola bottle, and he had the rice with Coca-Cola along with. So that is, whenever somebody asks me what is the weirdest food combination that you ever thought of having, is rice with Coca-Cola. Thank you.
Oh, that was, I can't imagine his state at that point. But
It's not a story. I'm telling you, it's really happened.
yeah, I get that, but I really cannot imagine his state. I can tell you that though.
Rashmi, I just want to make a comment here.
Sure, sure.
So, Srijesh, so when this topic was thrown at you, now do a postmortem of how you tackle this. Okay, which structure did you use? And would there have been a better structure that I can and use to add more impact? Start thinking about it right now based on what we have discussed so far, and that will help you improve in the next time. For example, you started with "My name is Srijesh." What has that got to do with the topic itself?
Okay.
Yeah, and then you took a long term time to even come to the food. For example, if you have a 2 minute window, you took maybe 45 seconds to come to what was the food. So what would be better, to come up upfront and tell about this is the situation, and then go ahead and explain your story, and then what was the impact, and then come back and the lesson learned. So think about that. What would
Sure.
be your approach next time you are given this topic? Rashmi, go ahead.
Sure.
Thanks, Safi, for that input. I'm sure all of us are going to think about this the next time. Okay. Is the earth flat? This is a very, how do I call it? Something which has been disputed upon, lots of arguments, lots of memes on the same. So the next question, or next topic rather, is the earth flat? Who wants to volunteer?
We might have to call Plato.
Should I call out names? That would be
Go ahead.
against the spirit of volunteering, but still I'll go ahead. Smita Padmanabhan, could you please unmute yourself and do us the honor of speaking on the topic?
Hi, Rashmi.
Hi,
Good
Smita.
evening. And good evening, Safir. It's great to see you again on another
Good evening.
forum.
Good evening. I saw your name come up. Good to see you here. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Very interesting question, Rashmi. So I used to believe when I was a child the earth was flat. But now, like we keep on, meeting people we have met before, right? That's an indication that the earth is not flat.
Okay. Okay.
That goes back to you, Safir.
She wrapped it up real quick.
Yeah, I have nothing more to say. That's a very tricky question. Thank you, Rashmi.
I'm
Smita,
sorry about that, Smita. I just want to make it
no,
fun.
no,
Thanks.
I have a point. See, Smita, you had a brilliant idea,
Mm-hmm.
brilliant explanation of why Earth is round because we keep meeting the same people again and again. Why not
Right.
elaborate on that? Why not elaborate on that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Next
Yeah,
time. So keep it funny. What's the issue? What's the issue? If somebody asks you such a question, they are expecting a funny answer from you as well.
right.
Not a theorem or a anything like that. So make it funny, make it interesting, and that initial thought. See, that's why I'm saying that instinct is important.
Right.
I'll give you an example. A few months back, we went to a school in Kaladi to do a youth leadership program. And we had Smita, you know Hariraj. His father
Yes.
was a topics master. His father is a man. He is a senior advocate. He is also a Toastmaster, and he keeps coming to these meetings. He was a topics master, and he asked the question, "Who was the best teacher in your life?" And there was this child who was not even old enough to attend a YLP, but because of his interest, we had admitted him. He was, I think, studying in fifth grade or sixth grade. His immediate response was that my mother is the best teacher I've had. That instinct, that thought carries too much weight. And if you can elaborate on that, that's good enough for a good table topics or an impromptu speech. So, Smita, you had a great thought that the world, we keep meeting the same people. That's why the world is round. It's an interesting thought, interesting twist. If you can elaborate on that, that'll be great. Yeah, just another
Yeah.
comment. Yeah.
Thank you, Safir.
Thank you, Smita. Thank you so much. All right. Next one would be, what breed of dog would you be? Why? If you were a dog, what breed would you be and why? These are mostly for dog persons, if there are any here. No takers? There are quite a few students here. Do you want to give it a shot? Anushruti, do you want to try? Anushruti, do you want to give it a shot? You will have to unmute yourself though. No, no response. Saurabh, do you want to take a shot at that?
Hi Rashmi,
Hi,
thanks
Saurabh.
for giving that opportunity. Though I'm not a dog lover, but I can think in terms of if I would have been dog, I would be a dog which will be a very friendly to the human being as they always be, and I want to be the dog which will be. Actually, I'm not the dog lover as such, so kindly. I think this is not. Maybe I'm not so. Maybe
Ah,
another topic I can take.
I chose the wrong person. No problem. I'll give you another topic. What was the worst haircut you ever had? Why do you think it was the worst?
So this I will tell you a story. Recently, I was in Hong Kong for last 3 months. There, I went with a haircut there, and then I was there in Hong Kong for last 3 months. There, what happened is after some time, my hairs were growing, and I thought, how now? What to do about to get that haircut done? Now the challenge in Hong Kong is very less people knows English. So I went to a hair salon, and then I was trying to explain him the way I want to get the haircut done. But this guy was not at all knowing English too much. Then I was explaining him through my hands and all. Whatever may be the scenario, I got the haircut done. Uh, it may be a different kind of haircut, but I got the haircut done. But it was a different experience in a different country where you went to a salon and the person does not know the English or language that you know, and you explain him how to get your haircut done. So it was a good experience, but after that, when I came back, my friend was saying that I don't think you have done the haircut. It doesn't look like the way you went, the way you came back, it looks same. So I don't know what happened, but that was the experience that I had, and it was a good experience in a different manner. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I
Thanks,
think that,
Saurabh. Did you have to wear a cap the entire time you were there in Hong Kong?
No. Yeah,
If
uh,
but my
not,
friend was saying that I don't think the money that you spend, you got the value. I don't know how much hair
okay.
you have got the cut done.
okay, Rashmi,
It's
Rashmi,
okay.
it's 5:30 now, so just
Okay.
maybe a couple of comments about Saurabh,
Sure.
what the way he tackles. Saurabh, number one, even if, like for example, when you're practicing, even if you are not a dog lover, pick up any breed, for example, and speak about that. None of us knows whether you are a dog lover or not. Maybe you will give it away because you will speak something wrong, but that's okay when you are practicing. So don't be apologetic. Go ahead and give it a try with whatever comes to your mind at that point in time. Second, uh, the approach that you took for the second topic that was given to you is about a story. Now, my suggestion is that don't give an intro that let me tell you a story about this. Go ahead and tell the story. I was in Hong Kong last 3 months, and one of these days I went out for a haircut. There will be a more impactful opening rather than, okay, let me tell you a story on this. So you are losing the audience at that time. So just a couple of suggestions. Now, before, if you want to stay back and tackle more interesting topics that Rashmi has in hand, we can do that. But before that, let me give, I have a request for you. If possible, send it across to Rashmi or Jay Kishore. One is the a new lesson that you learned from this presentation today, and second is give me a suggestion for improvement, whatever that is, whatever comes to your mind. These two things, if you can, all of the attendees present here right now, if you can send these two things to either Rashmi or to Jay Kishore, they will know how to reach me. I have a humble request for you to do that. One is what is the most important lesson that you learned today, and second is give me a suggestion for improvement next time. Thank you very much. Rashmi, over to you.
Thank you so much, DTM Safir. I think we'll be ending the session here as well. So we have a lot of takeaways today. I especially love the elevator pitch that you said. You know, we had a fresher recently into our team, and he was asked this question during interview: if you meet Bill Gates, what would you do? He said he would do stand-up comedy. I said, no. Are you a stand-up comedian? He said, no. I said, then how? With what confidence are you saying you'll do stand-up comedy? He said, let either be the worst experience of my life, which will make it unforgettable for Mr. Bill Gates. He's probably going to hate me for the rest of his life for wasting, you know, whatever time I took up, but I'll ensure that he never forgets me. So that's my idea of an elevator pitch. To the students here, don't emulate that. I'm just giving you an example of what that guy said. But thank you so much, Safir, for taking time and coming and joining us. It's been extremely insightful. I've taken a lot of pointers. I've noted down one entire page of what to do, what not to do. But I'd like to leave everybody with this thought that practice makes you perfect. This is something that we've heard since childhood. This is something that we should probably work on every day, every minute of our life. Be prepared, and practice makes you perfect. Yes, Safi, over to you.
Yeah, since you mentioned practice makes you perfect, I have shared the slide deck to J. Kishore. So if you want to get the slide deck, by all means do that. So there's one quote within that. It says, "Practice does not make you perfect. Perfect practice makes you perfect." It's a quote from Vince Lombardi. So it is there in the slide deck.
All right, I'll definitely take that and circulate it amongst our joiners today, amongst the audience today. So once again, thank you so much for this. I'd like to pass on the baton to our President Akhila, if she is available. Akhila, you there? Yeah, Akhila's here.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Rashmi. Wow, so many insights. I am really wondering what all I should note down. Great. Yes, impromptu speaking, we are called for in every walk of life. And I really thank Safi sir for such a great way of presenting it, and it'll stand in our mind always. I'm 100% sure nobody will forget the tips that he gave us. And I'm so happy there were so many students also joining us. It will help everyone, whichever walk of life we are in and whichever phase of life we are in. Impromptu speaking is really the in thing that we want, so that we, yes, elevator pitch is something we all have to practice. Thank you so much, sir, and thank you all fellow Toastmasters for joining us today for this great session and making this a wonderful evening. And
Thank you very much. You.
Thank
I,
you.
Jai Kishore, is he there? Is he? Would you like to add any
I don't
words?
think he's there, Akhila. I think he pinged me earlier on that he might not be available by the end of the session. So
Okay.
I don't think he's there.
Actually, we have so many guests here. So if anyone would like to have a word, you can express your views, please. You can unmute. Anyone?
Yeah, Akhila, this is Smita. So I especially like the point where Safir said, like, we have to practice, and like even when there is no one around, looking at the billboards or hoardings, you can practice, right? So I actually did something very similar. I did my engineering in Coimbatore. So the way I learned Tamil is by using billboards and advertisements on the way.
Okay,
So within
interesting.
4 years, I was able to read and write Tamil.
Congrats, dear. Great. See,
So that sounded really
tips.
like realistic to me when Safir
Very true.
mentioned that. Yeah.
Thank you, Savi sir. Though we met in the last meeting that we had in Toastmasters as well. Though we heard, always look at what's in it for me, for the listener, when you speak. As you said in the beginning, but I could not apply that in the speech that we are trying to do, because it's a habit to
Exactly.
overcome. So it may take a little time, but that's a wonderful
Yeah.
learning that I had.
That's why we need to practice, Rajesh. That's why we need to practice.
Correct. Yeah. That's good. Thank you. Thank you
Very
for that.
thankful to you, sir, that after each of our table topic speech, you could give the feedback how we could improve. That really helped us actually. This session, the first ones you gave us the introduction of how it should be, and then you put it into practice by suggesting, see, this is where you can improve. That was great, sir. Thank you so much. I would say you had given us 100% of your time for us, and thank you so much. I'm thankful to Jai Kishore for bringing you also, introducing you to our club as well. Thank you so much, all fellow Toastmasters and guests. I believe we can have this day, we can call it a day now. So I adjourn today. Yes, sir, please.
I think Rajesh is trying to say something.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. A small,
Please,
request.
Rajesh.
A small request to share that couple of slides if it is permitted. Very valuable insights. Maybe that slideshow might have taken 5 or 10 minutes, but it's again the impact is lifelong.
Rajesh, I have shared the entire deck with J. Kishore. So please get in touch with him.
Great.
And I've given him my permission to share.
when I used to work in IBM, our trainers used to come and the day starts with that. Guys, are you trained? Are you prepared? I know that you are all prepared. You are all prepared either to succeed or to prepare to fail. There is nothing in between.
And
So
Smita
if
is
you are
laughing
prepared, you are going
because
to
she works for
perform well.
IBM right now.
That's a great point which you had made. So then it says if you fail to prepare, you are preparing to fail. So that's a great thing. So and this elevator pitch we used to use it in our own personal way. So say we have to make the things happen. So we have to study the person who is going to meet in the elevator, make the preparations. What is his choice? What race he is? What language he speaks? What his go to the social media and do R&D about what his wishes, not wishes, and all. But the point which I want the takeaway from today is that you are given a structure to that. We are given a structure to that. And always we used to take this as a as a door opener. Okay, what next?
Yeah.
You have to take it to that level, and then from there you have to go into that. So this structure yeah, is what to say a life-changing slide. It's going to be so. Thank you very much, Safir, for being so structured on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was my objective as well, to bring that structure. Okay, I'll take leave now.
Yes, I declare this meeting also adjourned.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Bye.
And all of
You.
you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.